Well, we're in Nazareth. In just a moment, we're going to pan around, and you'll get a chance to see what Nazareth looks like all grown up 2,000 years from the time of Jesus. We know that 2,000 years ago, when Jesus grew up in Nazareth, it was a time of devotion, or devoted. His stepfather, Joseph, was devoted to his learning his trade. He became a carpenter. Nazareth was just a very small village with maybe more relatives than not living in it. Jesus grew up faithfully here. We believe, scholars believe, at the age of 18 and 19, his stepfather, Joseph, died, and he was the man of the house, devoted to taking care of the family, his mother and his brothers and sisters. As a carpenter, he grew up here in Nazareth. He prepared his life for ministry here in Nazareth. I don't think anybody knows exactly where it is, but I want to read a text of scripture to you, because when he began his ministry, he walked into the synagogue, and as he walked into the synagogue, this is what happened. Jesus returned in power by the Spirit to Galilee, and news of him went throughout all the region. So he came back to Nazareth, where he had been raised, and his custom was to go to the synagogue on the Sabbath day, and he did. He stood up. He was handed the book, or the scroll, of the prophet Isaiah. When he opened it, he found this place, that the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, recovery of sight to the blind, to set at liberty those things that are oppressed, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. And then he closed the scroll, gave it back, and sat down. And all the eyes were upon him. And he says this, "Today, this scripture is fulfilled in your hearing." He went on to explain that in the days of Elijah, the only people who got help was a Syrian, someone out of the country, and they were furious. And in their fury, they took him, marched him out of the synagogue, and took him to what's called a precipice, or a high place. This is the only precipice in Nazareth. What you're looking at is the precipice of the hill where most likely he was paraded and taken up, and presumably would have been thrown over, but it said he simply walked back through the midst of them and walked away. This is the only precipice in Nazareth. I would bet this is the place where they brought Jesus. This is the place he walked back through the crowd, back to Capernaum, where he headquartered his ministry. Come on, let's go take a look.